Okay, well, that should do it. I'm going to give y'all a couple of seconds here to get caught up stream wise, but it's been a while, so I might be a little rusty on the operation of OBS and all this silliness. So let me know in chat if there's any problems. You can't hear me, you can't see me, my beautiful face, etc. There's no hype music, there is no roll up, there is only spreadsheets. Spreadsheets without number. So yeah, welcome to the GM turn. This is GM turn number 6. It is bonus content. Think of it as director's cut stuff for RollPlay Swan, which is actually just having completed its first season. Yeah, we did episode 10 this week. So we're off for a couple of weeks for holiday stuff. RollPlay Swan will be back in January, and in the meantime I wanted to get us all caught up on the universe at large. Yeah, introductions. I guess I'm Adam Coble. I'm co-designer of a game called Dungeon World, and in my spare time I'm part of the roleplay family, doing some GM stuff. I've done a couple of one-offs, but my main jam, and if you're here you probably know this, is Swan Song, which is a sci-fi roleplay show using the Stars Without Number system, which is really great and super cool. And honestly, the for me as a GM, the best part is this stuff. Like, I love playing the game, and that's all good and fun and whatever. But there's a system called the Faction Turn that I will be walking through today. That helps the universe kind of move forward at a pace that keeps the world feeling like realistic, like things are happening when the players are doing stuff. And if you've been tuning into Swan Song, you know that the players have been doing stuff. They've been real busy on a planet way off in the middle of nowhere, in Sector Asgard Sigma. They've been stuck off in the corner here. And yeah, so some time has passed. I think the last faction turn was early May, and we're in mid to late June now. So let's start by getting refamiliarized with our factions and what they've been up to. So if you remember, our factions are the Andonian Cultural Protectorate. They're a sort of fascistic government of the planet Andoni. They're in some kind of like weird political corporate deal with Ximenez Shipyards, which is sort of the second biggest manufacturer of spaceship technology. Ximenez has been, well, we'll get to them in a second. But so Andonia, if you remember in May, like, they've been building up their planetary infrastructure. We talked a little bit about, very early on, about how they had just seized the planet back in January at the beginning of the year. There was this coup. They've been operating their harvesters. They're building up the industry. They're actually being like a pretty like decent government, which is kind of cool, right? Like, yeah, they're fascist dicks, and we saw them being that way. Like, there's a lot of surveillance on the planet, and everything's really like kind of hardcore. But at the same time, like, they're doing good. They got a ton of credits, and they're operating their infantry. They've got defenses. They've been operating their industry. They've got harvesters. Like, I mean, if you're from Andoni, it's probably an okay place to be. So, back in May, they just re-upped their same goal, Peaceable Kingdom, which means they want to continue to not get in fights with anybody and make money and be prosperous. At least that's what's happening on the surface. Who knows what's actually happening on Andoni? Maybe we'll see. Maybe the players will go back there. So the flip side of all that shiny goodness is the Midari Syndicate. So these guys are originally like an assembly of like I guess criminal families, or sort of low rent operators, but they're organized crime in the sector, the Midari Syndicate. There's some big like personal beef with them and one of the characters, Mr. Sicarian. Also, one of their operatives, Kalaya Bia, is like super heavily into trying to find Higgs, trying to find JP's character, which they've been doing that since episode 1. So they are very close to completing their goal. Their goal is to make and spend money. So it's a wealth of nations, I think it's called. So they're, maybe if they're lucky, we'll see how I roll, they might be able to complete that goal. So they're just basically making drugs, selling drugs, and pissing off the universe at large, primarily Mr. Sicarian. So Majid, the Mandarinate that controls the planet Majid, they are operating a bit of like a guerrilla war against another faction, the New Prophet. If you remember, if you were here for the last faction turn, I bought a Seductress for them, which, okay, whatever, terrible name for an asset, but it's a, in this case, like a pop musician, Nika Starlight. If you were paying attention in the last episode, I mentioned the players seeing a bunch of ads for the Nika Starlight like World Tour or Sector Tour or whatever. So I think I'm going to use that asset this time around. We'll see how June goes. The idea is that she's some kind of like stealth operative for the Majid Mandarinate, and they're trying to like get in there and attack the New Prophet organization, because the New Prophet, they don't like Majid very much, and yeah, they're kind of some sneaky dudes. So speaking of whom, New Prophet, they're kind of in the middle of this fight with Sunbeam over some labor regulations on the planet Asa. And also, can we just talk for a second about how incredibly boring that sounds as like a plot point in a sci-fi series? Like, I didn't use the word lasers or ninja or robots even one time. I didn't do any of that stuff. I said union labor regulations, but actually it's really cool. So if the players ever go to ASA, which if you remember Higgs is from, and I think actually there was some talk of going back there, if they go back, then we're going to end up with a situation where I can really easily paint a portrait of what's happening. I can be like, oh, there's religious riots and the unions are all involved with the New Prophet and there's all this stuff going on. And so again, like this really paints a picture of what is happening in the universe at large, so that I don't have to make stuff up or guess, right? I can say, here's exactly what's happening in each system, where there are faction things happening, and here's how you can get involved. So if the players go there and they, I don't know, like drive a bunch of union reps off the planet, then it's going to change the factions fighting over that stuff. So anyway, New Prophet, they're pretty like blind to what's happening with Majid right now, but they're gonna end up coming into conflict with them on top of what's currently going on with Sunbeam on ASA. Okay, so Oninsa Libre. Everybody knows Oninsa Libre. You're all desperately in love with them. They're a bunch of sort of neo-Cuban Spaniard revolutionaries on an imperial Japanese planet. It ties into Mr. Sakarian's background. The Photonhour Society recently got involved, which is like a sector-spanning mercenary company. It's like all kinds of stuff going on there. And they were doing pretty good, actually. Let's take a quick look back. So, you know, they're fighting the Royals. They got success. They did some damage. They attacked a Royal Harvester on Oninsa. Their goal is to like oust this royal family, these Japanese imperial whatever folks, and they were doing good until the Photonhour mercenaries showed up with their militia. You'll remember Miss Fate. She's the kind of boss of that unit. She has been just like putting it to Oninsa Libre. These guys have, I think, one asset left. Let's take a quick look. So Oninsa Libre, yeah, they have a base of influence with half its hit points gone, and they have 1 hit point left on their post-tech infantry. Things are not going well for Oninsa Libre. I think thankfully they have some money. Yeah, they got 10 faction credits. So, yeah, we'll see. So they're in a rough spot. I'm really interested to see how much longer they last before they get wiped out. This is one where in the next couple of episodes, if the players decide to go to Oninsa and like sort this shit out, they can sort of save the faction, right? And this is one of the ways that the faction stuff and the player stuff kind of interacts, because I have to play by the rules, right? When I do the faction turns, I say, you know, we roll the dice and they attack each other and they deal damage and whatever. But if the players go, like say they steal a nuclear bomb and they like blow up, I don't know, the Purity Initiative headquarters, that's going to dramatically impact the faction turn, right? They're kind of the I don't know. They're sort of the random element in this whole thing. So keep that in mind. Oninsa Libre, if the faction turn keeps going the way that it goes, these guys are toast. And the next faction, the Photonhour Society, this is why. You know, they're big. They've got a lot of stuff going on. They're kind of like the Foreign Legion of the sector, but right now I'm really focused on the conflict on Oninsa, right? Like I'm only really using them in a couple of places because there's not a lot of other civil war going on. So just something to keep in mind, like there's a lot of things going on in the universe at large, but what we're doing in the faction turn is really just focusing on the stuff that the players might interact with. So, Purity Initiative, Pfotenhauer, Oninsa Libre, Royal Family, all four of those are really focused on Oninsa, and they'll sort of tell that story. And it's all happening kind of in the background. And whether the players tune in directly and they kind of get involved or not, it's going to be up to them. It might just be that one day, they go back to Oninsa and I say, okay, cool, well, there's this whole other government. Oninsa Libre has been destroyed. Everyone's in jail. That's how it goes. So it's kind of cool. I get to play my own little game while the players kind of wander around getting in bar fights and teaching computers how to sing in French. So the Purity Initiative is the next faction that's involved in that whole brouhaha. So these guys... they're also after the Royal Family. There's a little bit of kind of a three-way battle there. The Purity Initiative, you remember that it was a big one. They destroyed the party machine of the Royal Family. So the Royals still exist on the planet. They still technically own the planet, Oninsa, but the Purity Initiative has seized the government. So the party machine is controlled by the entire, Senate or whatever, is controlled by the Purity Initiative. So these guys are kind of mysterious. They popped up out of nowhere. They hate drugs, so they're, Mr. Security's into that. And they use... potential influence of drugs and foreign influence as an excuse to go after governments and to wreck stuff. So for me, the question is kind of going to be who dies on Oninsa first and how that affects the balance, like which factions get destroyed. So kind of cool, something to keep an eye on, and we'll see how that goes this time. Richardson Scientific, these guys, and I think, yeah, they just haven't really been doing anything. They've just been kind of hanging out, Peaceable Kingdom, doing scientific research. They bought some harvesters. They're gas mining. I was thinking for a while about taking them out as a faction, but you might remember, they're connected. They're in the same system as Andoni, so there's a little bit of connection there. They're also connected to... the last mission, very vaguely. So when the players went to Subhadra, you remember that there was a lot of connection between the equipment that the doctor had there, the weird communication equipment he was trying to set up, and the actual Richardson Scientific. So they developed some of that technology. So these guys, I think they might pick up and change their goal if the players influence it. A lot of people think that the GM turn stuff in this game is one-directional, right? Where if something happens in the GM turn, it affects the players. And that's sort of the most straightforward approach to this. But for me, where it starts to get really interesting is vice versa, right? Where the players affect the universe at large. And we're going to see that happen more and more as the show goes on. Once the PCs kind of end up more deeply entrenched, later on when we get from the wandering mercenary stage up to the power in the sector stage, the Swan Song or the players in general or something, they're going to end up as a faction of their own, which is kind of cool. So something to keep in mind. I don't expect that happening till probably season 3, once we're on episode 20 or 25. But you can take that to mean that I'm in it for the long run. I'd really like to see how the Swan Song operates, how the factions and stuff are in turn 30. That's a long way off, but it could be really cool. So we talked a little bit about the Royal Family already. They are just desperate, trying to stay alive on the planet. Sunbeam, they're a big deal. They're probably one of the biggest corporations that we've seen so far, if not the biggest one. They just had a big fight with Ximenez where they tried to take out a Ximenez blockade fleet, and Ximenez just kicked the living hell out of them, which is kind of awesome. So I'm really interested in seeing what happens there. They just bought a new strike fleet. They're pissed as hell at Ximenez, and they're going to come after them. And Ximenez, their new goal is destroy Sunbeam. So, big fights there. So, pretty cool to see that. Now, I know if you tuned into the last couple episodes, you're probably curious about where some of the new factions stand. Why they're not on here. So, the Order of Annunciation / the Planetary Government of Cabral / the weird AI cult thing. Basically, the faction that Steven's new character, Prosper, belongs to. They're going to be included. I haven't added them yet because I still want to give them a little bit of room to be sort of secretive. They'll end up coming into play a little bit more sort of in the next few episodes, so we'll keep them off. And then the Perimeter Agency, which is their kind of anti-Maltech counterforce, they're going to come in too. And I'm not sure. I think I'm going to make them a faction, but they're a little bit more like I don't know, like anarchist cells, I guess, in that they don't all know each other. They're sort of individual operatives, kind of like a governmental agency that has differentiation between it and deniability, right? So we'll see. I want to think about how to incorporate those factions. So right now, what I want to do is just catch everybody we're already dealing with up to where the players are, and when we do the July, August, the sort of summer turn, turn 7, that's when we're gonna get into some of this stuff, this more current stuff. I noticed that there's a couple of questions in chat. So sometimes it's hard when you only hear a word pronounced instead of seeing it written down. The order of enunciation, it's enunciation with an A. They're named after, and I'm not a Catholic scholar or anything. You can look it up on Wikipedia. The enunciation was when the angels came to the Virgin Mary and were like, "Yo, girl, you got a baby up in you, and he's God." So they're about enunciating. They're about going out into the sector, finding people who are related to or involved with AI, and letting them know, like, hey, artificial intelligence, it's pretty great, and you have a responsibility now, so keep an eye on that. So yeah, that's what they're about. Order of enunciation. Look it up on Wikipedia. The enunciation, Catholic lore. It's weird. Okay, well let's get down to it. Let's roll some dice. Let's spread some sheets around. So the first step that I have to do in finding out what the factions are going to get up to is I need to roll a 11-sided die. There are 11 factions, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to roll and see who starts the turn off. Okay, so faction 11, we're going to start at the bottom of the list, which means we'll start with the Madari Syndicate. I'll go back up to the top and work my way back down to Fotenhauer. So we do this randomly because it gives factions a chance to operate before or after each other, which in conflict, in a tight conflict like this one on Oninsa, it actually does really matter, because if Oninsa Libre gets to attack before their faction operatives, before their weapons get to fire, then they're gonna actually get to use it, because they only have 1 hit point. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding up the income now, because if you've tuned into this before, you'll notice I always forget. So these guys go up to 6, these guys go to 7, and these guys go up to 19. Oh, Sunbeam, you're so rich. Richardson has 6, New Prophet has 11, Majid has 8, Nitsa Libre has 12, that's not bad. Royal Family's got 7, Purity Initiative has 23, Fotenhauer has 25, and the Madari has 5. Let me just check the note on this one, because I think these guys might get an extra one. Survey says, yeah, they get an extra one. Alright, so they're 24. Wow. Purity Initiative. Big money, I guess. I should spend some of that stuff. Yeah. XP is hard to come by, but yeah, it's interesting that they don't have a lot of ways to spend this. I mean, I guess I could take every turn and have them spending stuff, but really that's all they're allowed to do, right? Is just like buy stuff on. I mean, they could buy stuff on different planets, but Purity Initiative only has 1 planet, so we'll see. We'll get to it. Okay, so I'm starting with the Madari Syndicate. So the Madari Syndicate, their deal is that they want to buy the universe, right? They want to like make drugs and sell drugs. So with these guys, all I'm gonna do this turn is I'm gonna do what they've been doing before. They're gonna operate their post-tech infantry, and they're gonna spend, or industry, and they're gonna spend some of that money. So let's see. Everybody enjoy the clacking of my keyboard. Operate their industry. And when we operate post-tech industry, let's see here. Here we go. Take a look at the notes here. So we roll a d6. On a 1, they lose a cred, which happened to them last time, if you remember, because their blue fever was not great. On a 2, there's no profit. 3 to 5, they get a fat cred, and on a 6, they get 2. So let's pop over and roll that d6. Okay, so they get a 5. So 3 to 5, they get a cred, so they're going to give them another credit. So Midari goes up to 6, and then I'm just going to spend all of it. And that puts them, for Wealth of Worlds, to 17. So they're almost there. Really easy turn for them. I mean, nobody's really after the Midari Syndicate right now. They're just making a ton of money. So spend 6 on bribes. Cool. And there's no bad batch, no special stuff there. Really easy. So these guys, on their next turn, will spend enough to roll that goal over to completion. They'll get some experience, and maybe I can use that experience to buy them up. The Midari, I think right now, like, they're not going to end up being in conflict with anybody until either the PCs come after them. So, like, Mr. Sicarian takes the fight to them. Or the Purity Initiative, once they're done on Oninsa, their next target's going to be the Midari Syndicate for sure. But they're going to need to be big enough to take them on, because Midari's pretty tough. And Midari's got a pretty long head start on Purity Initiative. So we'll see. Again, we might have PC nuclear bomb situation and not have to worry about it. Okay, so Andonian Cultural Protectorate. These guys are going to be another easy one. I think they're just going to do the same thing. So operate post-tech industry and move towards their goal. So for them, their goal is Peaceable Kingdom, which means they just need to spend 4 turns without attacking anybody. So no big deal. Okay, so they didn't do that. They didn't attack. They're going to operate their industry. So I'm going to roll again. Bam. So they get 2 more credits. Cool. Okay, so their faction credits go up to 8. And shit is good on Andoni. So again, like, they're really like getting their shit together, and the space fascists continue on their glorious rise to power. So what'll probably happen, with Andoni is that, they've had half a year or so. I think it's 6 months. And eventually, they're going to have enough faction credits to start building up, and enough XP to start building up and looking at going after other factions or expanding their influence, right? Because they're in the Gunhild system, which is right here, and Varvaresos is right next door. And if we look at Varvaresos, we've got planet Strophios here. It's a tech level 4 planet with pre-tech specialties. It's a good little like jump over there to go after what's on Varvaresos. Now there's some other stuff happening there. Obviously, the if you remember, the New Prophet has some business on Varvaresos, but who knows? Maybe the New Prophet and the Andonian Cultural Protectorate are going to be buds, and then they'll team up. For me, like, a lot of the interesting stuff is the way that the different factions interact with each other at any given moment, like how Fotenhauer is interacting in a certain way with the stuff on Onitsa right now, but later they might join up with the Midari Syndicate, or they might work with Sunbeam, or Sunbeam might die and Ximenez might get huge, and then who knows what they'll do. Right? There's a lot of different stuff, and I've also been thinking about merging or splitting off factions too. So, like, I could see in the future and the Andonian Cultural Protectorate buying or merging with Ximenez, especially if Ximenez gets their ass kicked by Sunbeam. I might merge those 2 factions, like the Andonian Space Defense Force or whatever, right? And that'll help them expand. So I've got a little bit of option to screw around with the rules and to, like, merge stuff and split things and play around that way. So something I've been thinking about in the last little while. So okay, cool. So they operated their post-tech industry. They made some advance towards their goal. Shit's great on Andoni. Yeah, which you'll remember is where Steven's, spoiler warning, former character is from. Poor Victor Kovacs. He's got a cousin there, though, and that cousin just became 20,000 credits richer. Way to go, Steven's character's cousin. All right, so also on Andoni, Ximenez shipyards. Ximenez, they are going to they're going to try and they have the interesting goal of destroying Sunbeam. It's difficulty 5, which means tons of experience if you can do it, but it's going to take some work to get there. So Ximenez, they've got 7 credits, not really enough to buy anything good. I'm gonna activate their abilities. So when I activate their abilities, I can do the abilities of every unit that they have on every planet, if they have that ability. So on Andoni, they get to activate a unit. They're not going to use their lawyers to go after the government. I'm going to move their strike fleet. So the strike fleet right now is in the Gunhild system on Andoni. I'm going to move it to Sector 506. So Sector 506, if we take a look, Gunhild is here. Bakhtiar, which is 704, which is where Asa is. So there's some space here. So they're going to move their strike fleet from Gunhild to 506. I don't know how the Andonian government's going to feel about that, because that strike fleet is supposed to be protecting the planet. But yeah, Ximenez is pissed. They're super pissed. So the other thing too here that's interesting is, remember, Ximenez is the source of the Pizza Party, right? The Pizza Party was a Ximenez ship, and how did Ximenez get a hold of Maltech? Where did that AI come from? How is it connected to the situation on Andoni? Like, what the hell is going on? Like, an AI is a big deal. It seemed like the Pizza Party was an aberration, or they didn't know it, or there's some stuff going on there that I don't think the players have really seen yet, and so as a result, the audience also hasn't really seen. So, yeah. So they're going to move their strike fleet. I think there's going to be a big space battle soon. Let's see what happens when we get to Sunbeam. So I'm going to just mention here in my list. So I keep this list not only just to keep track of like what's happening from turn to turn, but also because if you remember, after every turn I write a little like a in fiction kind of newsreel about like what's going on in this month in the sector, yeah, and so it's cool to notice, like, you know, who would notice that all these like strike fleet ships are leaving the system, and where are they going, and what would a journalist write about that? So let's go moved strike fleet to 506. Cool. Okay. I don't know. Personally, if I lived on Andoni, I'd be a little worried that the blockade fleet got destroyed, and yeah, there's just all this stuff going on, and so yeah, let's take a look here and see. Yeah, so strike fleet is there. Two strike fleets for Sunbeam. Yeah, they're gonna rumble in space very quickly, I think. So let's jump back and keep moving through this stuff. Perfect. Okay, so Sunbeam is next. Now I gotta make a choice here. So Sunbeam, they've got a bunch of credits. Let's see if we can buy them anything. So they've got 6 wealth, 5 force, and 3 cunning. So on my asset tables, 6 wealth. Basically, I want to buy them something they can use to just like kick the crap out of Ximenez, but yeah, I don't know. Commodities broker, R&D. What does R&D do? Blah blah blah. This is all boring. Venture capital. They're already pretty well set up. So you know what? I'm gonna move them. Let's move some stuff around. So they're going to, if I look at the asset tracker, they've got assets, they've got a bank, they've got some base of influence, they've got an industry. That's all in ASA. Actually, everything they own is in ASA right now, and they're mobile. So let's move them. And you know what? I'm gonna move both of these strike fleets. I'm gonna move them to Hex. They can move 1 as an action. So they're both at 704. So I'm gonna move them to 704. Let's move them to 605. Okay. So now there are two entire strike fleets on their way to the Gunhild system. They moved from Bakhtiar to 605. Gunhild's moved to 506. I'm guessing next turn, section 505 is going to get real messy real fast, and whatever's left of those fleets are going to either end up in Asa or in Gunhild, and then shit's going to get real. So, yeah, kind of cool. Alright, so space battles, that's going to happen. We'll get our EVE Online on, and yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. I have a feeling I know how it's gonna go, but yeah. Okay, so moved strike fleet. Let me move both of them. Oops. Oh, thanks a lot, spreadsheet. There we go. ×2 from 704 to 605. Cool. Messy. Alrighty. Who's next? I've got Sunbeam, so they've used their asset ability, move everybody to 605. And back on the faction tracker, that means Richardson Scientific is up next. Now Richardson, I'm going to complete their goal. So they're gonna do no attack. We'll remove their goal. They get 1 experience. And I will clear that note. So next turn they're going to have to pick a new goal. And let's see, they got 6 fat creds. I don't want to spend them. They've got harvesters. I'm going to just keep doing what they did last time. So let's operate harvesters, nice and peaceful. And let's see how it goes. Roll a d6. We got a 3, which I don't think gets them any money. Let's check on those Richardson harvesters here. 4+. Okay. Sorry, Richardson. No extra credits for you. So I'll probably post some kind of like financial report for June, being like, you know, this particular cloud was not as profitable as they thought. Like shares in Richardson Scientific drop. But they did get to complete their goal, so I should actually make a note of that. Cool. Okay, so Richardson has got their goal completed. They've got some experience. They're getting bigger, getting better. But again, like, who knows what's going to happen in a couple of turns when the Sunbeam Strike Fleet shows up. I might actually, depending on how that fight goes, I might change Sunbeam's goal to destroy Jimenez so that they can both get all up in each other's business. Because that's fun, and also destroying factions is something we haven't seen yet. Okay, so Sunbeam is good. I'm going to move on to Richardson. They're good. The New Prophet. Okay. So now this is one of those turns where, depending on the order in which things had gone, I might have done things a little bit differently. Now, because the New Prophet gets to go before the Mandarinate moves its agent onto their planet, they're just going to keep fighting on Asa. So I'm going to make my first attack of the turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, let's see, New Prophet, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have them attack with their Union Toughs on Asa. Now the Union Toughs attack, and Sunbeam gets to decide who defends. So let's see what's on that planet. So on Asa, they can defend with the bank, they can defend with their industry, or they can defend with their faction, which, so not good. They're just going to defend with their industry, and what this will represent in the faction lore, in the lore of the universe, is the unions are striking. It's affecting the industry, and we'll see if the strike is successful or not, right? If it is, it means like, okay, the general strike happened, and Sunbeam lost a bunch of money, and they're going to be pissed about it. Last time, the Union Toughs suffered counterattack damage, so their stuff was undermined, right? They failed. So let's see how that attack goes. So the New Prophet, this attack, Union Toughs versus Post-Tech, is, let's see, Union Toughs attack with, here we go. These only have half their hit points too. Good job, jerks. Okay, so this is a wealth versus force. Let's So wealth versus force for these factions. New Prophet wealth, so 5, versus Sunbeam force, which is also 5. Okay. Now the New Prophet, they are, let's see, Machiavellian, so they can roll an additional d20 when making a cunning attack, which they're not doing. Okay, that's fine. And Sunbeam doesn't affect theirs either. They have technical expertise. Okay, so let's make a roll. So it's going to be a d10 plus 5 for each roll. So this is the attacker. This is New Prophet. Ooh, nice. And this is Sunbeam. Oh, missed it by 1. Okay, so this time it works. So they're gonna deal damage. So it's a d4 plus 1. 4 damage. All right. So they deal 4 damage to that asset. So and let's see how many hit points that asset has. So back down here under Sunbeam, post-tech, 4 hit points. So this is a really intense attack, right? Like this Union Strike just collapsed an entire branch of Sunbeam's industry. Like they will have a hard time recovering from this. Now what I can do instead, and let me just check the rules here for damage, is I think that I can have them just damage the base of influence directly, which I think I might do. Let's take a look at that. Faction assets, attack, here we go. Okay, so attacks, launched against assets, blah blah blah. Defender rolls d10. Attack is a success. If the vendor has a base of influence, off to let... Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, so instead of totally destroying the industry, they're going to deal damage right to Sunbeam directly. So Sunbeam drops to 24 hit points. I'm going to make a note because narratively that's going to be pretty different. Alright, so their base of influence goes down. That also reduces their hit points on the faction tracker. So, Sunbeam, what's going on, guys? So what this might represent is the Sunbeam, their industry stays running because they hire a bunch of scabs and they... Sorry, 25 hit points. Yeah, go math. There we go. So they... yeah, they instead of letting it damage their industry, they keep the industry up. Maybe they hire some scabs, they break the picket lines, and it makes their overall like public image look terrible, right? Where they're like, we don't care about these religious people. We're just gonna get out there with the batons, get the hell back to work, you know. So, you know, it's interesting because they have this choice, and it damages their public reputation. Maybe a bunch of their employees quit. This is a big deal, right, for Sunbeam. So while Sunbeam is all like, okay, gung-ho, strike fleet, let's go kill Ximenez, maybe one of those strike fleets is going to peel off and go and have a conversation with the New Prophet, right? But again, it's hard when you're being attacked, undermined. You're being attacked socially. It's hard to counterattack with spaceships, right? You can't kill... I mean, look at the Romans, right? You can't kill Christianity with lions and swords. You just make it more powerful. You know, strike them down. They're going to become more powerful than you ever imagined. So, I guess we'll see. Let's see how all this action goes. So, that happened. Base of influence takes some damage. Kind of an interesting turn. And, you know, I'll have to justify that as we go along. So let's see who is next. That was the New Prophet. Good job. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And next is... okay, so here's what's important. So the Majid Mandarinate, these guys are also after the New Prophet, but they're trying to get at them kind of under the radar, right? So they're going to be moving this new asset. It's a nice simple turn. They're going to move their new stealth asset, their Seductress. They're going to move Nika Starlight to the same planet that the New Prophet is originally from, right? to Strophios. So I'm going to copy this stuff. And the reason that they can do this is because I set them up earlier with that freighter contract. So the Seductress can move from Vafai to Varvaresos. So let me just double check, make sure I'm not moving them too far. Freighter contract, let's see. They might have to go one at a time. Let's see. Nope, 2 hexes, perfect, for a cost of 1 fat cred. So they're going to pay 1 credit to move their new friend to that sector. So basically, I think what their kind of deal is right now with the Seductress is that they want to root out the demagogue. Right? They want to find the new prophet. They want to find that guy and use Nika Starlight to undermine him. Maybe with some big public, big public scandal or whatever. The Majidi Mandarni, they don't fight fair. Basically, that's their thing. So maybe get them addicted to drugs. Maybe find some other way to undermine them directly, undermine their demagogue. But first they gotta find him. So she's on tour. She shows up in Varvaresos and Strophios. So let's go to Majid. Move the Seductress to Strophios. All right, so the plan is in place. So she's she's almost there. Okay. So who is next? Oh, it didn't save my attacker. Okay, just a second. I'm going to copy this guy over. This was the one that I wrote in earlier, but didn't seem to copy. Bear with me, everybody. Thank you. There we go. Okay. All right. So now we are on. That was Majid. So we got them sorted out. And okay, all right, Onitza Libre. Jesus Christ, what are these guys gonna do? So Onitza Libre is in rough shape. Let's take a quick look at their assets again. So Onitza Libre, they have half their hit points left. Their base of influence is down to 7 of 15. They have 1 unit. They have literally 1 thing. They have a post-tech infantry force with 1 hit point. So now I could, if I wanted to, I could just attack. I could say like fuck it. Their goal is to seize control of the planet. They want to, they want to get rid of everybody. They're warlike. That's their jam. But also they're not stupid, right? And they have credits. So I'm gonna buy them another unit because if I don't, they will die. So on my asset tracker, I am just gonna buy them another post-tech infantry. So I'm just gonna copy this line, and I'm gonna post it down at the bottom. And I give them 12 hit points, and that's good, because man, they're in rough shape if they don't ante up a little here. It's gonna mean probably that their 1 hit point unit is gonna get lost, but at least they're gonna be able to defend themselves next turn, right? So they basically recruit some new units. So buy post-tech infantry, okay. And that costs them post-tech infantry. Let's see here. That costs them 8 of their 12. Let's see if I can get back here. So, all right, so they got 4 left. But they're in better shape, so they actually have some people, which is nice, and they don't just get totally annihilated right now. They can defend themselves, which is good because they are going to get attacked very soon. All right, so they've got post-tech infantry. Next up is the Royal Family. The Royal Family in Exile. Let's take a look at what they've got too. So the Royal Family in Exile, these guys have 3 assets left. Their base of influence is still solid. They technically control the planet, but they don't control the political unit of the family or of the planet. They have some damaged harvesters. You remember Onitza Libre attacked them. And now they've got these elite skirmishers they bought last time. I think that I justified them in the fiction as being like the royal family, like the Empress's personal guard. So what they're going to do is they're going to stage a counterattack on Onitza Libre. It may not be the smartest move, but they need to do some fighting because that's their goal. if we look at the faction tracker, destroy the foe, they got to take out Oninsula Libre. So they're gonna fight back. They're stubborn, they're brave, and this might be not be the best play choice, but they've got these elite dudes. So let's see what happens. Let's take a swing. So they're going to attack. So attack Oninsula Libre with elite skirmishers. And the elite skirmishers, let's take a look. It's going to be Oninsula Libre is going to defend. They're going to defend with their new unharmed infantry. Okay, so I think it's going to be force versus force on the asset tracker. Let's take a look here. Yep, so force versus force. And that means it is 3 on 4. All right. So force versus force, 3 on 4. Oninsula Libre is warlike, so I think they get kind of advantage. Oh no, once per turn they can add a d10 to their force. This isn't going to go well for the royal family, but okay. All right, so let's. But you know what? I got to decide. I only get to use that ability once. I'm going to leave it. Oninsula Libre is going to save it to defend themselves against the Pfotenhauer Society, who's going to push their attack. So let's just roll straight force versus force on this one. So this is the attacker. This is the 3. D10 plus 3. All right, 5. And this is the defender. D10 plus 4. It's a tie. Okay, so both things happen. So, all right. So when that happens, it means that both the, let's see here, if it's a tie, both the attack and counterattack succeeds. So this is going to get messy for both of them. So it's 2d4 damage to the infantry, which won't kill them, but let's see how much damage they deal. 2d4 damage to the infantry. Ooh, 8. All right. These elite skirmishers, they are not bad. And the skirmishers counterattack, or the infantry counterattacks with 1d8 damage. So it might be the same. Let's see what happens. Oh, it is. Wow, this is a bloody fight. So 8 damage to the skirmishers, and let's go back and update that stuff on the asset tracker. So, oh, the elite skirmishers get destroyed. Man, sorry, samurai. Toast. Messy. That's a really messy battle. So, the new infantry drop to Oninsula Libre's new infantry drop to 4 hit points. And and the elite skirmishers die. So the royal guard are dead. They're killed in a counterattack, and Oninsula Libre is in a really good position to attack next turn, to attack the royals, depending on how that goes. Cool. Okay. So this is the stuff that I like. I love that. For me, I end up in these situations where I have to figure out what all this stuff means in fiction, like in the universe. And Oninsula Libre is really desperately holding on. It's really exciting for me. I really like this part of the game. So the royal family, they are dumb. They tried to attack, but I don't know. It was a good attack. Bonsai, right? This was the classic suicide assault on Oninsula Libre, and maybe they just had bad intel, right? Maybe they were like, oh, Oninsula Libre, they've only got one crushed unit left. Let's go kill them. And then, reinforcements from the southern continent. Laser machine guns. Cool. Okay. Very appropriate, I think, for this particular faction. So our next faction in line is the Purity Initiative. So these are these intelligence fanatics. The senator Yeah, they've got shit on lock on the non-military side of Oninsa, right? Like the royal family, Oninsa Libre, and Fotenhauer are all shooting guns at each other, and the Purity Initiative is just like buying people and stealing shit and taking over the government from the inside. They have 24 faction credits, and I think that I am going to use them. So let's see what they can buy. They can buy up to 4 cunning. Let's see if there's any good cunning stuff for them. So, with cunning, here we go. They could buy a party machine, which they already have. They could buy Vanguard cadres. Oh, a military unit. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's see what they got right now. Purity. Oh, they've already got mercenaries. Oh. Yeah, maybe I'm going to save that money. Huh. It's kind of cool. You know what? Let's hit the royal family while they're down. I'm gonna attack the royal family with the party machine because why not? I mean, you're already taking control of the planet. Why not just keep doing what you're doing? So the party machine of the royal family is destroyed. The royal family is going to defend with. They've got harvesters and their base of influence. So yeah. I guess they're gonna deconstruct the industry, right? They're gonna have to defend with the harvesters. So again, this is one of those challenges where it's like politically, how do they defend themselves with the harvesters? What do the harvesters represent in the royal government? And this is it. This is the last thing that they have. So maybe they just take apart their failing. Their failing food industry, and they say, okay, look, obviously the royals can't even feed these people. And they're gonna shut it down, or maybe they'll plant they'll say, "Oh, this is good. I'm gonna do it first to see how it goes." But if it succeeds, I think that the Purity Initiative plants some kind of rumor that the harvesters are being used to make drugs, and they get them shut down. So, yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's see how it goes. So the party machine is a let's see, Purity Initiative. It's a cunning versus cunning, 2d6. So the cunning of the royal family is 4, purity is 4, so this is a 4v4. And the purity initiative is fanatical, so if I roll a 1, I can re-roll. So there's some questions in chat. I don't get to decide, the attacking faction doesn't decide what they attack. Basically, it's like in some CCGs where you're like, I'm going to attack you, and you choose how you defend yourself, not I'm going to attack your particular cards on the table. Yeah, so, okay. So they're going to attack, and it's D10 plus 4. This is the attack. And this is the defense. Oh, I rolled a 1, so they get to reroll. That's better. And the defense... Ooh, 14. All right. No, these harvesters are clean. So they attack the royals. They fail, which means... Is there a counterattack on the harvesters? I think that there is. How weird. Defending with harvesters. Yeah, D4. All right. 1 damage. All right, so the... party machine takes a damage. So this would be a case where, yeah. So the let's say the Purity Initiative, they say, these we've learned recently that there's corruption in the government and that these harvesters are being used to make drugs. So we're going to send a team there to check it out. And they go and no, the harvesters. These are good down to earth folks who just survived a huge attack by Oninsa Libre, and they're no, fuck you. We're making food. Get out of here. And the people of Oninsa now don't trust the Purity Initiative as much, right? The party machine they look like a political organization that's just trying to get their own advantage, to be no, their ploy is really clear and obvious. Everybody knows that they're kind of being shady. So yeah, super cool there. I love that stuff. So congratulations, royal family. You are not dead yet. Purity Initiative is done. They have taken the initiative and they have failed their role, leaving us with Fotenhauer Society. Now, Fotenhauer, you remember their goal their goal is a little bit different. Now, their goal isn't to kill anyone in particular, but to kill someone. They just want to wreck a faction. They're going to go after the weakest factions, and they're just going to hammer on them. Now, I could spend some of their 25. I could buy them some more force and stuff, but I'm really curious as to what's happening on Oninsa. Like, I want to see Miss Fate take out Oninsa Libre. So she's going to attack. They're going to attack with their faction there. So they've got attack Oninsa Libre on Oninsa with what do they got? Militia unit, I think they're called. Let's find out. Yeah, militia unit on Oninsa. It's gonna be force versus force. Militia unit, and they are going to defend by post tech, and I'm going to defend with the guys that have 4 hit points. And let's see what happens. So it's force versus force. It's going to be a big roll for Pfotenhauer, because Pfotenhauer has much more force. So Pfotenhauer's, it's going to be 6 versus Oninsa's 4. But you remember I saved it, so Oninsa's going to get to roll an extra d10. So let's do the attack. d10 plus 6. It's a 9. d10 plus d10 plus 4. Okay, so the post-tech infantry, it was a failed attack, and I'm gonna laugh so hard if they just get their ass kicked and they lose their unit on Oninsa. That'd be really funny. Oninsa Libre, they are invincible, evidently, or just really smart. So on the asset tracker, if they fail, they get counterattacked for 1d8, and they only have 4 hit points, so there's a 50-50 chance that Miss Fate just gets killed. That's a d8, right? That's what I said? Just double check that. Yep, d8. Okay. Oh, close. Very, very close. Okay, so militia takes a bunch of damage. 3 damage. So I think what's going to have to happen is either these guys are going to back out of the conflict soon because they're losing their units, or they're going to have to build something bigger and tough. I mean, either way, some people are asking about the rolling and adding. Either way, they would have beat them. It was either a tie or no, it was either, yeah, they rolled a 10 and 8, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's huge. They win regardless, and that's awesome. This is really cool. So Oninsa Libre, they're just clinging to this planet by the skin of their teeth. They've got 2 units. I'm impressed by their ability to hold on. So good job, Oninsa Libre. Kicking the shit out of those mercenaries. So it's really interesting because now they have to make a choice, right? Pfotenhauer, with their 25 resources, they have to decide, do we want to really engage in this conflict? And if so, we're going to need to establish a base of influence on the planet and deal with some of the local government stuff. And I'm going to have to think about what Pfotenhauer's overall goal is, especially keeping in mind that Mr. Titan is on the way, right? That there is a big story-related character on their way. So what I think they might do is they might back out of the conflict, but there'll be some intelligence that comes from that militia unit. Miss Fate maybe sends some information that's bringing in Mr. Titan, and I can go ahead and on my next turn use some of those 25 resources to buy the best damn force unit they can get. Which, let's take a look at force. What do I got for force 6? Let's send in the pre-tech infantry, or let's send in a grav tank formation, right? And just roll Oninsa Libre, but it's going to take time. So I guess we'll see. So let me just double check. I think that's everybody. Yeah, we started with the Midari Syndicate, and we're done. We're at the end. So keep in mind, this faction turn, it occurs on a monthly basis if we don't complete adventures. I took a little bit of time off to give the players a chance to check out what was happening in the system. So, you know, they've got that chance now. We're at the beginning of season 2. Lots of stuff has happened, and I'm going to go ahead and update all this stuff. If you are tuning in to Swan Song on the regular and you want to get involved in how the game plays, I would really like that. That'd be super cool, because fan-made stuff is great. So the ways you can do that, primarily all of this stuff happens through the subreddit, JP's subreddit, so reddit.com/r/itmejp. Any of the posts tagged with Swan Song, definitely get in on that action. Feel free to just like make stuff up. If you're worried about stepping on my fictional toes, don't worry too much. I will, you know, incorporate stuff as best I can into the existing story. I'll probably ignore some bits that don't mesh with what I've got, but I'm pretty transparent about what I have planned, especially if you tune into the GM turn. So, you know, feel free to contribute fan art, feel free to contribute fiction, like jump in with whatever stuff you think is cool about the setting or the system. I love to hear it. And I'm going to be updating on the turn setting with all of this stuff. I'll write up a little, like, you know, Newsnet post. Keep an eye on the subreddit. I don't know if they're in chat right now, but we have a really cool fan who does like an audio version of that stuff, and I've been working with this person on something super special, so keep an eye out for that if you want to hear more cool things. Also, the Swan Song, if you Google Swan Song Wikia, there is an amazing wiki of like updates and all of this stuff, all the fan art. It's all being collected there. Go ahead and check that out, make updates, get involved in the community there. And I'm going to be posting a new set of JobNet postings that you can go and vote for what you want the Swan Song to do next. I mean, they've got their own kind of stuff going on, but yeah, they got to make money, right? So we got to keep putting out jobs there. So I'm going to do that. It'll be between now and beginning of January. Keep an eye out there. And as usual, you know, I don't do this on my Twitch channel very often, so I don't have subscribers. But if you like the content, follow me on Twitter. Check out my role-playing game. Check out Dungeon World, because if you like the way that I approach this stuff, if you like the way that I GM, a lot of that internalized stuff has been moved into Dungeon World as part of like how that game is made. So check that out if you like. Otherwise, yeah, follow JP. Check out the rest of the cast, and we'll see all of y'all out there in space. Thanks for coming. I'll be uploading this action to my YouTube channel and posting a link on Twitter. If you missed any of the beginning of it, or you want to check out old turns or a dumb video of my bird, you can do all that on YouTube. Just look up Skinny Ghost. Yeah, so thanks for coming out and keeping me in company while we mess around with our spreadsheets. Yeah, it's been a slice. Thanks so much for coming, everybody, and we'll see you around. Thanks.